Let it snow. Let it snow. Can't hold it back anymore. Let it snow. Let it snow. Hello and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, featuring Tim Davis, but also minus Matt tonight, unfortunately. This is the podcast where me and Tim went and saw a movie at a local Regal cinema theater, and now we're going to talk about it in the parking structure in my Toyota Tacoma, and we're going to talk about such things as, should you see this movie? Should you not see this movie? Should you snack during it? Should you bring kids? Should you bring a date? Should you sleep during it? You know, like whatever. We try to talk about anything, everything. We try to get you guys in the know so that you can make a decision on this movie. I am Todd Domer.
And I am Tim Davis, and I'm glad to be
you are.
the second one for once in the Matt and Todd Go to the Movies plus
promotion
Tim. Plus
for
Tim.
you tonight. So, the movie we saw tonight was Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And Tim, is there anyone famous in this movie?
I'd say there's plenty of famous people, and because most of the
Bold claim.
Most of the cast return from Aquaman 1. Of course, led by Jason Momoa as Aquaman himself. I think he goes without saying at this point.
Sure.
Amber Heard is back as Mira. She's not Miss Popular right now, but she is in the movie, despite her claims that she's not. Nicole Kidman is back as Aquaman's mother. I'm going to butcher this guy's name, but Yahya Abdul-Mateen is back as Black Manta, the villain of the first movie. Patrick Wilson is back as the Ocean Master, who is Aquaman's brother and who he dethroned in the last movie. And Dolph Lundgren returns as the king of... What is the king of? The fisherman tribe?
No,
he's
some
other
king,
tribe.
some other kingdom.
But he's back.
Good old Dolph. You can't keep a good Dolph down.
And while he may not be known by name, a lot of people know Tamira Morrison. He's Aquaman's dad in this. He's famously Boba Fett. And he was also in the first movie as well.
You're missing one.
And then Randall Park
there you go.
shows up in this movie as a scientist, kind of along with Black Manta's plan, although he's not really along with the plan. He's, of course, famous for Crazy Rich Asians, and he's Jimmy Woo in the MCU.
And the failed Blockbuster show.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that was him, too. And one episode of The Office that he doesn't even remember filming.
Fair enough.
All right.
Well, so what's this movie about? Okay, let's paint a picture here. We got 4 years after the original Aquaman, and we have Arthur Curry, Jason Momoa, living his best life as king and protector of the seas, and he's a dad now, and he's married, and his dad's still around in the lighthouse, and he's trying to make it all work. He's one of those guys who's got too many things on his plates, and they're all spinning, and he's trying to get stuff going, and then on an expedition of Black Manta trying to find more Atlantean technology so he can fix his power suit and go after Aquaman to kill everyone he loves, blah, 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 villain speech. He happens to unearth basically the seventh kingdom, the Lost Kingdom. And in that he finds a Black Trident that you see in the trailers, and the Black Trident gives us powers, and you find out that the Black Trident is connected to this Lost Kingdom and the old king in that kingdom, and there's some black magic. And basically, he gets led around by this kind of dark lord thing to do bad things and to basically almost destroy the world. And basically, Arthur has to step in and try to stop him, but their first meeting doesn't go so well, so he decides he needs help. And the only person he thinks that can help find Black Manta is his brother, Ocean Master, or Orn. So he's got to lead a thing to make him escape from the prison that he put him in, and, hijinks ensues. There's plenty of action. There's a final battle. There's a lot of family, and everything kind of comes together in the end for a climactic battle. And that's where I will leave it there. So I defer to you, Tim.
Yes.
What did you think about this movie? This little ditty, this little end of the DCEU movie as we know it.
So I came into this jokingly calling it Aquaman and the Lost Universe because this really is kind of a movie that was left made, and then the big upheaval at Warner Brothers and James Gunn, etc. happened, and they were like, well, we do have this movie in the can, I guess we should push it out and get rid of everything. But
I mean, which may have not happened. I mean, they've certainly been known to can some movies and never release them, which kind of sucks for the people who made those. But to be fair,
I am glad this movie saw the light of day because it is a perfectly fine, fun sequel to the first Aquaman. If you enjoyed the first Aquaman, this is right there with it. It's a fun adventure. Momoa's letting loose, having fun, doing Momoa things. They have a fun dynamic. You know, after the irritableness of Ocean Master and Aquaman in the first movie, this one's more of the good cop, bad cop, buddy cop movie. And it works, and it feels earned in this movie. Like, you know, they have their resentfulness, their why did you break me out, et cetera, and yet it's played not for laughs completely, but the jokes are earned, and the way their dynamic is kind of the center of the middle part of the movie, and it works. And that's credit to Wilson and Momoa for making that work, and where it could have been a cheesy, thing, or it could have been, just, thrown together. But I thought it all came together. I thought everybody in this movie was committed to the bit, just like in the first one. There's a lot of CG and underwater worlds, but it's all gorgeous to look at. There's lots of action and movement, but it's all interesting. It doesn't feel like a CG map like some movies have become lately, like say Quantumania. Like this one felt alive and felt moving, and I really like the graphics that they use for when people are underwater and their faces look swollen and their hair is moving, because that's what you would look like underwater. And it's not distracting to me. It's like that makes sense. That's how they would look, and it's just the whole thing works. And this is not a great movie.
Quantumania look like crap.
Yeah, this is not a great movie by any means. It's another kind of like it's your hero story and all the cliches of a superhero movie, but not in a bad way. Like it executes them all fine. It gets to where it needs to go, and it's a perfect cap to the Aquaman story, I would say. It's like it ends well, it ends hopefully, it ends nicely. That's not ruining anything, I don't think. And it's, if this is the end of the DCU as we know it, it's a perfectly fine way to go out, because it's like it ends on a very hopeful note, not just for Aquaman, but for that world.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm going to miss some of these characters and some of these dynamics. I think a third Aquaman movie would have been interesting, or maybe, just more of the interactions between these people, but that's not to be, and nothing we should be able to speculate about. So the movie that we are left with, while at times felt a little disconnected or a little rushed in certain scenes, because it's clear this got the editing chop a lot.
Yeah.
It still worked for me, and it's still a good, I'd say it was 2 hours. And but it kind of flew by in a good way. And then
honestly, it might even be like, hold on. Oh yeah, probably 2.
Yeah, it was about 2 hours.
2:20 maybe.
But it didn't feel bloated. It didn't feel like overdone or overstuffed. I thought it got it to where it needed to go, and it's perfectly fine.
Nice.
Todd?
So I'm teetering between I really like this movie, and I'm daring to maybe even use the L word.
Whoa.
And there's a lot of reasons why I feel that way. This is the second movie that's come out where Jason Momoa is a main character, and he steals the show to me just through sheer charisma.
Oh, he's so good.
And it was very enjoyable.
He's born to play this role.
Right, yeah. I mean, I think these two movies, I think I liked this one more than the first one. And I didn't dislike the first one.
No, I think that's a fair point.
But this is like...
He's more comfortable in this, I think.
Well, yeah, and I think in general, like... This is one of those things where you let him play, and this is what you get. Whereas I feel like everyone else in any of these DC, no one came into their own. I feel like in these other DC,
they never really got a chance.
And it's not their fault. Yeah, they never got a chance to. They were shoehorned by so many things. It was doomed from the beginning, and then Ezra Miller turns out to be a kind of crappy human being, and that tanked everything. So.
This one, I will say, while the other movies had stories to live up to or expectations or all that, this one just felt like James Wan, the director again, was able to just kind of, hey, I'm over here, guys. I'm going to go make Aquaman. You worry about what you need to worry about. I've got this.
Great world building. Yep. Great. I think James Wan has proven that he is a fantastic action director. Yes. The CG looks so good in this movie, whereas like you were saying, Quantumania and other like movies that have come heavily CG'd out. This is like just a step above that.
Yeah, it really is.
And I think everyone played their parts incredibly well. There was no, to me, downside of the acting.
No.
And, this is the only movie that I've seen so far I think in this DCEU that doesn't exist anymore, that I'm sad it's ending. Like that I'm like,
Yeah, this made you
"Ugh."
go, oh,
Like
there's potential.
there
here.
could have been something. They could have had. I have an idea of what the trilogy could have been, but I won't share that unless you ask me on social media. And you know, like that's sad to me. This franchise or this duo of movies is such a lost opportunity. Like,
Yes.
and you know, it makes me happy that they're changing directions in the sense of like I want people who are competent to be in charge. I am going on record to say now that I don't trust James Gunn to be that person, but I hope I'm proven wrong. And I would say there's two big, not drawbacks, but if I had to point out minuses, there's two minuses in this movie. One is that the story it gets very basic at times, and it borrows from so many different elements.
does.
Like at one point you're almost like in Journey to the Center of the Earth movie, like, and then you're in, you know, you're back to an Aquaman movie, then you're in this kind of movie. Like, I thought that was a little distracting and made it a little bloated at times of just being like, wow, there's a lot being thrown at us.
And
right
the
now.
movies it was borrowing from, it was doing the tropes of those movies.
Exactly. So
Which
like,
is fine, but it didn't make it inventive.
it was okay. It just made it, it kind of made it a drawback because it was basic.
Yes, yes.
And then also, like, I felt, as much as, like, I'm, you know, whatever, we'll all never know the true thing that went down between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
No.
However, I think Amber Heard has really shot herself in the foot and, like, really kind of painted a bad picture of her by, like, you know, lying under oath and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not even saying I side with anyone, but all that went down, and they obviously cut a lot from this movie. She's still very much in it, so I don't agree with her claims that she got cut out.
No, she's got some really important scenes.
She's in it, like, she's in it a lot, but she's in it a lot in quick scenes. Like, it's not like at any point is she really part of the story, because they probably cut so much of her out. Like, I do think they cut a lot of her out. But I don't agree with her. But she's not even in the movie.
But I don't think it's a loss either. Like, I feel like, and when she shows up, she actually makes an impact a lot. And I feel like her scenes do matter. Right. Even if she's not the focus even of the scene, but she does something impactful.
Well, the thing that was really kind of the drawback to me is that I think they cut a lot of family time scenes.
I agree with that.
And that, you know, at times they're like, you know, the beginning of this movie is really hitting home that they're a family now and stuff like that. And it's all these scenes of Arthur and Arthur Jr.
Yes.
And then maybe one or two scenes of her being in that. That's why it felt weird to me.
That's fair.
But
I guess the idea they decided to go with is like, well, she's watching the ocean while Arthur watches.
I mean, like, she's watching her popularity decline while Arthur's out doing
you know, that's.
So I definitely encourage people to see this movie. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. Like, I didn't once look at my I didn't look at my phone once thinking what time it is.
No.
Like, I was thrilled for the whole movie. I thought the guy who plays Black Manta did a really good job as a villain.
Yeah, you believed he was wanted to kill him and had no other purpose other than that, and not in a one-dimensional way, but just he's not stopping.
Right, and honestly, the biggest sad part about this movie is that we will not see this Aquaman, this
Black Manta,
this Atlantis again in movies, and that's sad because I thought this was a very much a shining star in the crap that has been the DCEU. Not every movie's been crap, but I think on a whole we could all agree that it's been pretty negative. So, yeah, I mean, I encourage people to go see this movie. I don't want people to skip this movie because it's like the end of the DCEU. I think like this movie's good enough to warrant, in my opinion, saying, hey, go see this movie, see it in theaters, support it.
Yeah, it looks
because
good.
At least we can say, okay, here's the last shining star. James Wan deserves the recognition of this movie. Jason Momoa deserves the recognition of this movie. And if you're kind of like, oh, who cares? The universe is over. And you don't see it. That's going to ding them more than it is going to ding Warner Brothers.
Yeah, because that decision's already been made.
Right. It's already set in motion. We're not going to see these people again. But I thought it really went out with a bang. And I know that they didn't make this movie that way because most of this was filmed before all this controversy went down. So it's a strong outing, and I fully support people seeing it in theaters.
I agree with you.
So, well, how many shiny blue seahorses would you give this
That's a good
movie?
rating.
I thoroughly enjoyed the callback to a seahorse riding Aquaman.
Yep.
Was very enjoyable to me. Storm is the name of the seahorse. I don't remember if that's the name in comics or
I would
not,
hope so.
but yeah, it wouldn't make sense to me if they didn't use the name from comics.
Right.
But you know, 0 being the worst because then you have none, no riding, no nothing, no fun. 5 being the best because you got a little posse of seahorses, and you know that's a good
take
time.
you wherever you want to go.
Riding wherever you want to go, riding the 7 seas. So, Tim, what are you gonna give this little ditty?
Let's see. I think I'm in comfortably in the 3s. I think I'm gonna land around a 3.6. Because, like I said, the visuals were great. Everybody's acting is where they need to be. Like, no one overdid it, no one underdid it. Patrick Wilson, I really thought, had a lot of fun with this, too. Even though he's playing kind of the straight man, no fun Ocean Master. But he got to play off of Momoa, which really, you don't have to do much. And he had some delivery of lines that I thought really worked for me. And, yeah, so it's a fun time.
Yeah, so far we haven't heard anyone who was in this movie complaining that Jason Momoa stole the spotlight. Where we have Vin Diesel, who's now in his own controversy of a sexual assault claim, has finally claimed Vin Diesel. So we'll see how that affects.
You don't hear that about Momoa.
No. All you hear is nice things about Momoa.
All right, so 3.6 seahorses. That's plenty.
Nice.
Todd.
You know, I'm not too far off. I'm going to go a little bit higher.
As you said.
Like, I just really, really enjoyed this movie. Like, I'm going to land on a 3.9.
Yeah, that's nice.
I'm not going to break 4 because of all the stuff that I mentioned. I think if the story was, like, tighter and a little bit better, then it could have been a pretty high 4 to me. And then all the controversy surrounding the movie and Amber Heard and blah, 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 blah. It's like, we just can't have decent people in the world anymore. And I mean, it's coming off of also Flashpoint, where it's like the same thing. Like, I can't sit and enjoy the movie for what it is because these people can't act straight in life. They want to be, you know...
troublemakers.
Right. So, yeah, I'm at a 3.9.
3.9 is good.
And I thought it was really good, and I support everyone going to see it. So, well, and that's going to wrap us up tonight. I don't know what the average between us
something
is.
Like 3.7 something, 3.7.
Maybe 3.75.
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah, it's in that range.
We'll have to give our ratings to Matt and let him do that.
That's a high recommendation, though.
Yeah, that's his department. So we thank you for tuning in. Follow us on social media. Just look up Matt and Todd Go to the Movies. You can find us anywhere where podcasts have been found, which if you're listening to this, then you've already found us. But if you're sharing the good news about this podcast, we can be found anywhere. And thank you for joining us. Have a splendid night. Da 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 da.